There's my pumpkin. It's growing. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a beautiful morning on this lovely Tuesday. And I want to show you what I've been working on. Honestly, yeah, I've had 2 showers today because I never wait this long to get things finished up, especially in this area. I mean, I don't normally wait this long. Clearly, I waited this long, right? But I still had that weeding to do all along that one side going up our driveway that borders the woods. And now the weeds that I had to pull up were like, 2 feet or more high, and their root system was really good. And oh my goodness, I was just yarning on those things so much that my back aches. But I did get a lot done, and I want to show you. This is where I ended up planting those lily of the valley. And yeah, I just now got to them. But luckily for us, it's like rained every single day, so they were in great shape still. So I got all this done. And that log there actually is a log that I wanted my husband to cut out a top portion so that I could use it as a planter. But he just has not had time to get to it. And then I planted those irises that I had dug up, and I finally got those planted here. So I got all this area done. This happens to be the area that everybody sees when they first pull into the driveway. So luckily for me, it's starting to look a little bit better. And yes, I need to divide up some plants, but it's just too late in the season for me to do that now. But yep, I got all that weeded. And all back in there weeded. But no, I did not get behind that evergreen tree. I didn't get back there. But there was a shrub that was overhanging here. And then there was another shrub that was overhanging. Let me see if I can't point it out to you. Right back in there, that it was totally covering that hosta there that's back there. You couldn't even tell that I had a hosta there. And then there's a little pine bush right there. And it was just covering them up. I mean, it was just way down. So I had to get all that cut back. But yeah, I got all that done. And yes, there's a few little weeds here and there, but I'll be able to get those probably later on today or tomorrow, and we should be good to go. But it's starting to come together. Finally. But I wanted to show you how big the pumpkin in the backyard, where it had originally started growing up from the little pumpkin that I set there last November. And I actually moved some of my stuff around because I thought, this is getting so big. It needs more space. So that's what I did, and I'll show you what I did. Look at that pumpkin. Look at how much bigger those leaves are. Yeah, so what I ended up doing is that this tomato plant was closer. So I ended up moving this tomato plant over, which then I had to move that tomato plant over, which then I had to move the parsley over, and then I had to move the rosemary up because they were just kind of all in this area here, that I put more space there. So hopefully there'll be enough room. I have no idea, because you know what? I've never grown pumpkin before. So I can always move my little gnome and that rock, so that's not a problem. You can start to go around. But I'm kind of excited. And my squash is doing good. I'm happy about that. And that basil and sweet pea that I bought, they're not coming up in those containers. But get this, I had extra seeds, and so I planted them in a planter. Well, it's coming up there, isn't it? Anyways, I am a very happy girl when it comes to that pumpkin because I really want pumpkin. And I'll talk to you after a while. Today, I would like to continue with Truthful Tuesdays. And I want to start, though, with Colossians chapter 2, verse 7. It says, "Let your roots grow down into Him, and let your lives be built on Him. Then your faith will grow strong in the truth you were taught, and you will overflow with thankfulness." And as of 2 years ago, and probably preceding the 3 or 4 years before that, I feared that my purpose in life was done. And it was in the fall of 2015 that I started to pray and ask the Lord to help me and to show me what His plan for this stage in my life was. And I asked Him to please still have a plan and a purpose for me. Yeah, you would think that I would have known better, but that's where I was at. And I realize that probably there are some that are thinking that at my age, maybe I should already know what that purpose in my life was at this point, right? But I had always been a mom. And after my children were grown, I took care of my grandchildren. And then they got to the point where they didn't need me to take care of them. And I began to feel very lost. And I had a very deep lack of direction and purpose for my life. And I don't know if you've ever felt that way, but actually it is a frustratingly difficult place to be. And I honestly didn't think that the Lord was answering my prayer. And I secretly feared that my purpose was past and complete. I had already done the job that God had for me. However, last year, around last August, I started to get the sense after a year of praying that the Lord was setting things up so that I would be able to see the direction that He desired for me to go. And the best way for me to explain that is it's kind of like a signpost along a highway. You know how the closer you get to your destination, you'll see a sign that tells you how many more miles up ahead before your exit? Well, the closer you get, you begin to look for that exit. And you know what? They say that hindsight's 20/20, and frankly, now that I can look back, there was some signposts that I had failed to see that the Lord had left for me, but I was either too blind or self-absorbed to even see them. And still, in August of just last year, I did not know for certainty where the Lord was taking me or what objective or what destination the Lord was guiding me to. I had no idea what He wanted me to do, except that from that point forward, I was going to have my eyes wide open with anticipation of being shown the destination that He had planned for my life. And that comes with faith. You know, we're told in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7, for we live by faith, not by sight. And walking by faith and not by sight requires us to go to a place that we do not know. One that God will reveal as we walk in obedience. Just look at Abraham as an example in Genesis 12, verse 1. Walking by faith requires a strong determination to follow God's plan regardless what life throws our way. Look to Daniel and discover how to have the resolve not to sin in Daniel chapter 1, verse 8. Walking by faith means we have the courage to stand up for the hurting, the broken, and the downtrodden. And it may even mean that we have to face death or imprisonment ourselves for the good of others. Just look at Esther and how she risked the death penalty to save the Jews. Well, I stepped out in faith believing that the Lord wanted me to start a vlog on YouTube. I didn't even begin doing a devotion until after a few weeks into it. I just took one step at a time in faith, believing that this is what He wanted me to do, that I was following His direction, and I just asked Him each step to tell me what to do. And there was times that I really didn't hear, but I did the very best I could. But as time went on, I started to see clearly what He wanted me to do. You know what? Sometimes we have to play the part of a fool. Think about Noah. He built an ark for a flood when it had never even rained. And Abraham, he was clinging to the promise that he would be a father of many nations, even though he was childless and 100 years old. And what about Joshua? Marching around the walls of Jericho as God told him to, and wondering, what good is this going to do? I don't know where I'm going to end up in this journey of walking by faith, but I know He's teaching me to trust Him so that He can do something bigger and better than I ever dreamed possible. And I believe that now. He is teaching me to let go and to trust Him with all my heart, with all my soul, and with all my life. And He is preparing me to be a beacon of light and hope to a world which desperately needs to see Jesus. So with that, I want to remind you, life happens. Let's enjoy it and walk by faith. And don't ever believe the lie of the enemy like I did and think you have no purpose. Because if you have breath in your lungs, you have purpose in God's plan. I'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless.